This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 47, verse 1. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground, there is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans. For thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Take the millstones and grind meal, uncover thy locks, make bare the leg, uncover the thigh, pass over the rivers. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. So giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rachakwadash. Double honors to the elders, apostles, and bishops of Great Millstone, as well as the men that taught them, and peace and blessings unto the 144,000, as well as the rest of the elect. All right, this is Brother Tazapah here back with another lesson. In this lesson, we're going to talk about Babylon, all right, which better known today as America, and this is who the scripture here is speaking about, all right? So again, Isaiah 47 and 1, come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon, all right? So it's not referring to ancient Babylon, the original Babylon. It's talking about an offshoot, all right? The daughter, and a virgin daughter, nonetheless, all right, of ancient Babylon, all right? So this would be an offshoot. And if you look at America, all right, it follows all of the ways, customs, traditions, all right? A lot of the ideologies, philosophies of ancient Babylon, this place keeps, all right? You talk about the ideology of bringing all people together as one, all right? Now that's what Babylon under Nimrod was famous for, all right? Bringing together all people, all right? And having them to build that tower, right? And so this is Revelation 17 and 1. It says, and there came one of the 7 angels, which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying, come unto me, come hither, and I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. All right, that's Babylon, Babylonia, Babylon. All right. Verse 2. With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. All right. The same ideologies, philosophies, and belief systems that, you know, where I just spoke on, going back to ancient Babylon. Okay. That's why the world is drunk right now. And you read Jeremiah, it tells you that, let's look at Jeremiah. '51. All right. And here is Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 6. It says, flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity. All right. And this is what the lesson is going into. Babylon's iniquity. All right. There's about to be a recompense for that very same iniquity. All right. Judgment. And that's at the time that we're in. The zeitgeist of the entire world right now is Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai's determination. All right. His judgment. And that's what's playing out in the earth. All right. So it says to flee out of the midst of Babylon because great judgment is set upon this place. All right. And it will not be diverted, prolonged, or upset in any shape, form, or fashion. Everything is going according to plan. You see, the devils are in derision. The Most High is not in derision. All right. So it's commanding us to flee out of the midst of Babylon. Okay. Forsake her ways. come out of the mindset of this place, because it's a mindset that puts you against Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. It says, yeah, and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity. For this is the time of the Lord's vengeance. And this is where we are. This is the time of Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai's vengeance. It says, he will render unto her a recompense. All right. Verse 7, Babylon had been a golden cup in the Lord's hand. America was that golden cup. The whole world marveled and wondered after America, wanted to come over here and get a little piece of that American pie, you know. And a lot of the heathen nations came over here and found success, all right, at the expense of the children of Israel, all right. And so now here it is. The Lord is getting ready to come. He's going to return to set his children up. The children that the whole world exploited and used, abused. All right, he's coming to lift us up. And you got the whole world trying to tag along. And you got niggas who want these heathens to tag along. All right, but that's another lesson. This time is for us. All right, this flee out of the midst of Babylon was a warning for us. All right, and if you look, you know, who's taking heed? Because this has been my thing, all right. Anytime anyone want to talk about heathens have salvation, where is their obedience? And the Lord made it plain. I will have obedience rather than sacrifice. So where are the heathens in their obedience? All right? Where are the heathens who are delivering their soul? Because there's only one way to do that. And that's to call on the name Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. And it's just deeper than saying his name. All right, I'm saying that to encapsulate, you got to get into this gospel. All right, there's more to the name than just the words themselves. The name encapsulates everything that this doctrine is about. All right, when you talk about brotherly love, that's his name. That's in the name, brotherly love. All right, you talk about chasteness, purity, that's the names. All right, you know, being upstanding and upright men, being just, that's in the names. So when a nigga want to say, oh, you can call the Lord anything, he's really twisted out of his mind. Because those names stand for something. All right? Just as every man, he wants his name to stand for something. When you hear his name, when somebody calls his name, you want your name to be associated with something, all right? Positive. You don't want your name to be associated with liar, incompetence, undependable Salakia, double-minded. But these are things that you attribute to yourself if you walk in them. All right. So when you talk about a name, all right, names should stand for something. We're all in this truth to make what? A name for ourselves. Not for this world, but for the world to come. All right. I don't give a fuck about this world. And you hear how I said it? I meant just the way I said it. All right. What does your name stand for? So anybody want to tell you, oh, a man's name, it doesn't mean nothing. All right, that's somebody you need to get away from. All right, because these people obviously have no root, as the scriptures say, in themselves. They don't have a solid foundation. All right. A man that won't respect another man's name, how can he himself walk in respect? How can he be respectable? And this is what niggas don't get. All right. Whenever you disrespect another man of your nation, you disrespect yourself. These people done a number on us to get us to see each other as separate. And so the Lord came to gather us. How? In love. All right. That we all may be one in Yahweh Shah HaMashiach. None of this, oh, I'm red, you blue, I'm west side, you east side, I'm 144th Street, you 133rd. I mean, this man got us separated on any and everything. And we willing to fight and kill each other behind his madness. This is why the scriptures say, flee out of the midst of Babylon. And Micah 2:10 says, you know, this is not our rest. This shit is polluted. And it will destroy you. You know? Hey, but it's the point right here. All right, verse 7. Jeremiah 51, verse 7, Babylon had been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. So this is what we read, Revelation 17. All right. Revelation 17:2, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. And I mentioned just a little bit of that wine, all right? Divide and conquer, getting everybody to see themselves separate. Oh, I'm an individual, I'm unique, all that shit. And that's fine and dandy till it come time and you need a nation. You know, but that's one of the ways we get exploited, all right, because we don't have a sense of nationhood, all right. But that's just that's just a small aspect, all right. When you talk about democracy, all right, Shahid Bolson, I believe that's his name. He just did an excellent discourse on the divide and conquer and the democratic system of America and how he was making a point. I'm gonna make this point that he made, and he was saying, if you seeing the corruption of democracy all over the world, all right, where you know that votes get overturned or elections get overturned, all right, where the people vote one way, like in the case of Syria, people vote one way, but then the U.S. regime say, nah, they don't honor it, or they just take the leader out, the elected leader out, put a puppet leader in. So what he's saying, if you seeing the corruption of democracy all over the world, how could you think that it won't be corrupt here at home? But this is the delusion that Babylonians, is why I call you Martmains, is what y'all operate under. You know, and that's part of that wine, democracy. All right. Then you have religion, mainly Catholicism, keeping our people asleep since 1776. Well, us, since 1619, putting heads to bed, Catholicism, putting heads to bed since 1619. And one of the main ones, the what is it? The God dog it, the Federal Reserve note. All right, the world reserve currency. All right, it runs on the philosophy. All right, it operates and it exists by way of philosophy, and that is fractional reserve banking. That's what the fiat Federal Reserve note. That's what it's based on. All right, fractional reserve banking. So in short, these banks, these vendors, whatever, only have to have 10% of the assets that they claim to have. So if they claim, oh, we got $1 billion in assets. So all they're required to have liquid, in liquid is 100 million. That's fractional reserve banking. It sounds corrupt, right? And it is. This is why we're all broke. All right, we've all been robbed, right, from under our noses. All right, and a lot of times people don't even know it. All right, we understand taxes and robbery through tax, but how many people understand robbery through inflation? Because that's what we are now. Our money is being, the value of your dollar is being robbed from you. All right, and you can't do a goddamn thing about it. But lose value on your money. But this is why the nations are mad. All right? Okay, so it said that, the inhabitants of the earth in Revelation 17:2, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. All right? But the point why I came here is I want to go into this wine, but it said in verse 1, it speaks about, come hither, and I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. All right, so it explains those many waters when you jump down in verse 15. All right, this is Revelation chapter 17, verse 15. And he said unto me, the waters which thou sawest where the whore sitteth are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. All right, so right, the nations, all of the people, creeds and colors, and they all wanted to flock here, all right, which is the similar fashion to what? Babylon under Nimrod. All right. So that spirit of Babylon is encapsulated in America, or invoked, if you will, is invoked in America. Don't you know that Crowley, was it Crowley? Yeah, it was Crowley. Crowley, Jack Parsons, and others, they did a sex magic ritual, 1946, called the Babylonian Working. I spoke about this out on the block years ago. But right, they did this sex magic ritual, the Babylonian Working, to invoke the very spirit of Babylon into America. All right. But get this, what I didn't know is that when they opened this portal, Jack Parsons died sometime a short time later, and so that portal, whatever that they opened to allow these energy, the demons to come in, it's still open because the person who activates the portal has to be the one to close the portal. All right, so they've invoked this entity, which they call Babylonia, into America. All right, 1946. That's completing the prophecy. And everything since then, you saw, all right, with them trying to get to the moon and all that's the technocracy really kicked in the gear. All right. Because by that time they had all of that knowledge coming out of Nazi Germany. By 46, they had already Operation Paperclip had already taken place. So you had a portion of those Nazi German scientists go to Russia, and you had a portion of them go to the U.S. And that's how they, got the Cold War going. All right. So all of this came out of all of that. It all coincides. Okay. It all coincides, but just to show you that, America today, all right, the whore that sits upon many waters, all right, that's America. America is Babylon. Babylon is America. All right. That's the whore. Who else is all the world mad at? That's all you got to look at. Everybody's mad at America. All right. Okay, yeah. Everybody mad at America. And so it says back in Isaiah 47:1, come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground, there is no throne. All right. The Most High is getting ready to take this place out of power. It says, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Why? Because war is coming to this place. You see, all the time that I've been alive and before I've been alive, my father and my grandfather, great-grandfather, America has been exporting war. All right? No one has ever exported their agendas, military agendas here. It's always been America exporting its policies, foreign policy and military rule to countries overseas. All right, and never have the chickens come home to roost. But that's all about to change. All right. And I got a little information that a brother posted in the chat that's telling you exactly that. All right. This business with Iran, like I said, as the scriptures say, is going to be the downfall of this raggedy ass empire. All right.
We've heard that the Pentagon has warned that an attack on the homeland is their top priority, and one of the concerns listed was the threat of potential nuclear attacks on U.S. cities.
Potential nuclear attacks on U.S. cities. Off the bat, it has all the markings of a false flag. Because who and why? Who would do it and why? Knowing that that's going to bring annihilation to you and your country. Knowing there's no way you can get away with it without suffering irreparable damage. So just off the bat, this has all the earmarks of a false flag, all right? Somebody doing something with a little pocket or a suitcase, something or another in a strategic place, just as 9/11, just as Oklahoma City, just as everything else, so they could have a pretext to take you to war. And to quote Gerald Salente, when all else fails, they take you to war. And we at the part where, because it was designed to fail, all right? So we're at the part where there's nowhere else to go. And we're watching the failure of all of these systems play out in real time, all right? Mainly the financial system. But right, all of his institutions are crumbling because they were shit to begin with. So I'm going to go back, listen what he's saying real close.
Developing news coming out. We've heard that the Pentagon has warned that an attack on the homeland is their top priority, and one of the concerns listed was the threat of potential nuclear attacks on U.S. cities. And that is why we are now starting to see articles coming out like this, confirmed also from the FBI, of lists of cities that would be the main targets for nuclear attacks if World War III were to erupt. Now I'm going to be covering for you the top 15 cities, and as you can see here, January 2026, we're starting to see articles coming out like this again. And as I mentioned, take a look here. You can see January 26, just 4 days ago, Pentagon warns future wars may hit U.S. soil as direct military threats grow. The new national defense strategy elevates homeland defense above all other missions. They're saying the threat of a potential attack to the contiguous states of the United States of America is the main concern right there, hitting North America. Now, I'm going to be covering for you some of the other concerns, but take a look here specifically. It lists out, I'm going to be going into detail in this article here. You can see from the 26th as well. U.S. strategy labels North Korea a direct homeland threat. They're saying Korea is a major concern. And also take a look, also coming out on the 26th, so just 4 days ago, we're seeing a lot of this information being released, announced updated guidance to counter drone threats in the homeland. And we're talking about the threats that are being posed directly by Iran, which, if you haven't heard, breaking news coming out in the last 30 minutes here, hang with me and take a look. South Asia-linked terror groups remain a homeland threat, U.S. officials warn. Lawmakers told militant networks are rooted in Pakistan and Afghanistan that are adapting tactics and continue to inspire violence inside of the United States. So there's an assortment of different threats here. 2026 Homeland Security Threat Forecast, Part 1, Terrorism. This coming out January 28th, 2026. So again, a lot of this coming out in just the past 4 days, and coming out in just the past 30 minutes or so. Look at this, spreading out all over the news media headlines. U.S. military told the Middle East today, their allies, that Trump attack on Iran is imminent, according to reports. Now, this isn't about the nukes or the missile program, it says. This is about regime change. A foreign senior intelligence official told Drop Site News. We're going to be covering the details.
Now, on that regime change, because this is what they've been wanting for years, that's what it's all about. They've been picking at them with the nuclear thing. They made it clear we don't want nuclear weapons. They opened up to the IEAE or whatever, the International Atomic Energy Agency, whatever that acronym is. They've been compliant in Iran with all of the stipulations, been suffering at the hand of these crippling economic sanctions by the U.S., which is more of the wine that the people drink. You got to throw them sanctions in there, all right? I forget to mention, or you don't think about it, but right, the sanctions are a part of why the people are mad. Russia, China, Iran, mainly, been hit with these sanctions, all right? And you want to piss the people off, mess with their money. And that's what these sanctions do. But the point being, all right, this man, he has alienated the U.S. from even its allies. America has been alienated, and everybody got some type of beef or grudge against America, all right? So when he says, let me go back a little bit.
intelligence official told Drop Site News. We're going to be covering the details. I have a program, it says. This is about spreading out all over the news media headlines. U.S. military told the Middle East today, their allies, that Trump attack on Iran is imminent, according to reports. Now, this isn't about the nukes or the missile program, it says. This is about regime change, a foreign senior intelligence official told Drop Site News. We're going to be covering the details. I have not even yet.
All right, so what I wanted to mention, you had the Shah come out, Reza Pavla. Don't quote me on that name, but he already came out, all right, and he's already on the small hat bandwagon and saying how he's going to work with them. And now I can't find that video. I could have swore I saved it, but he said how he looking forward to, working with the small hats and all of that. So it's going back to what I was saying earlier, all right? Iran elected who they wanted. But now they looking to get him out to put the Shah in, all right, because he's friendly to Israel. And who they have now, of course, you see, they don't get along. They don't get along with the small hats. And so that's the problem. It's not nothing that they're doing that's putting lives in danger and this and that. No, they just want a regime in there that Israel can control. All right, and this is what's bringing the world to war. Going back to Jeremiah. And we'll go to 49. All right. So back in Jeremiah 49 and 20, it says, therefore hear the counsel of the Lord that he had taken against Edom. This is who we're talking about, the Edomites. They run in the world. The white man runs the world. All right. And his purposes that he had purposed against the inhabitants of Teman, the German Edomites. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. The least of the flock are the Israel Edomites. All right. People who we refer to as the small hats. All right. The JEOOs, they are the least of the flock. Drawing them out means they're going to bring the whole world into the third world woe. That's why I say, surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. Because he bring the world into perdition. The son of perdition. You see, this is Joel 3 and 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. All right, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war. Wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. All right. So this is a call for these heathen nations to rise and prepare for the battle, because it's going down. You ain't going to blow this off. We're going to sit this one out. Y'all go ahead. We're going to just chill right here. No, you beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears, because you're going to war. All right. Let the weak say, I'm strong. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. It says, let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Yahweh Shaphat. Now, as you read it in English, you see Jehoshaphat. But that's the Hebrew word Yahweh Shaphat, which Yahweh is the Heavenly Father's name. All right. And Shaphat is judgment. All right. So all the heathen are going to be awakened so they can go down to the valley of Yahweh's judgment. All right. Or the Lord's determination. It says what? For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. All right. And that's what all of this is about. All right. This is the shaping up of the third woe. It says in verse 13, put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe, the harvest of souls. All right. Right. It's a harvest of souls. Most High is coming to tread the wine fat, or to tread the wine press. All right. Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come get you down, for the press, all right, that wine press is full. The fats overflow, the blood of the people, for their wickedness is great. Multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord is near. In the valley of decision. All right. And this is where all of this is heading. All right. This is where all of this is heading. We're in the time of the third woe. And it's all coming together like Voltron. Salakia. It's all coming together like Voltron, to assemble, to bring about the kingdom. All right. This third woe is necessary. Jacob's trouble is necessary. All of these things are necessary. The Lord doesn't do nothing in vain. All right. But yes, all right. All of this is the path to the kingdom. All right. So let's walk it with circumspectly. All right, and with endurance. And so to the next one, y'all stay up. Shalom.